Ladies and gentlemen, welcoming you all to International Affairs being broadcasted from the SATV's Gulshan studio. We will be analyzing and dissecting the information that is present to us all from around the world in the geopolitical arena. Before we step in to the discussion, let me introduce my panel. Here in the studio, I have Dr. Ali Ahmed. He's, of course, a member customs of the National Board of Revenue, as well as a renowned economist. I welcome you on to the program. Alongside, I will have our geopolitical correspondent from Washington, District of Columbia, Norman Floyd Barnes. A very good morning to you, sir. I want to discuss with you the preliminary. We see that 15 days of strikes have happened. 2 consecutive days that strikes have been halted by the U.S. President Donald Trump. This is allowing some space for diplomatic discussions to resume with Iran. However, in the recent times, we have seen that the attack has now a multi-frontal situation happening. We see the Caspian Sea becoming the point of discussion, Ukraine stepping into the Iranian conflict, and this is perhaps precursor to any kind of a wider conflict as we've been discussing here on this very program. I want to pass it to you. What are some of the updates that you have for us? A very good morning to you, Norman.
Good morning. Here in Washington. Yes, today is the second consecutive day where the U.S. has not bombed Iran. There's a lot of discussions here, anywhere from the War Powers Act. They took a vote on that that barely passed congressional approval. The Congress, the Republican-led Congress, is still very narrowly supporting President Trump's actions. The discussion on peace is not very promising here, even though there's a ceasefire and military actions. Some rumors out on the internet stating that the reason the U.S. has stopped bombing it because they're low on ammunitions. I do not take that with a lot of credibility. I believe there's something else going on. I think there's more planning, and this conflict is now spreading towards the Red Sea. It's spreading north towards Caspian Sea, and Israel is up and ramping up their attacks dealing with the West Bank, and is now expanding. This conflict, this whole area is now becoming a very hot mess. I spoke to several of my friends in Dubai yesterday, and they are not very, they say they're safe right now, but they're not very confident on the future. And the climate there is very warm, but it's also very tense in terms of dealing with the next door neighbor, Iran. So we go into another week, and we're basically waiting to see exactly what happens. I'm pretty sure there will be some type of activity hit the news services this week, but we don't know exactly how much. There's rumor there will be a more massive attack, a more focused attack on the infrastructure. That is yet to be seen, and we just started today, just waiting to see exactly what newsworthy information comes out of the Middle East.
Right. Interesting beginning from Norman Floyd Barnes actually taking part of the discussion. I want to turn to Dr. Ali Ahmed here in the studio. Some of the updates that we see from over the weekend until today. The Bab el-Mandeb Strait in the Red Sea, once again contested by the Houthis. Yemen and Saudi Arabia are sharing this kind of tension, while the Strait of Hormuz remains still contested waters. According to the Iran's Revolutionary Guard Corps, Navy has stopped 6 vessels over the last 24 hours as they attempted to cross that strait. The Caspian Sea historically ties up with the Soviet Union. previously known as what is today Russia, in connection with Iran, and Ukraine seems to have attacked deliberately on a commercial vessel belonging to Iran. So this is escalation that we have not seen of this type in this year as of yet. I want to ask you how you analyze this, as every nation on the face of the earth is predicting an economic crisis that is coming out, the third tier of escalation, as I believe. How do you see these recent developments?
Well, if there is no positive development, there is bound to be a severe crisis, because crude per barrel has already exceeded $100. It has gone beyond 100 also in some cases. It is because it is estimated, everyone now knows that around 20% of the world's petroleum products cross through this Iran area.
Right.
But then another 7% used to go through an underground pipeline. That has now been closed. And so there is no delivery now in the world. So the price is going up. If it keeps on going up for another week, then you will see the price level not only of crude oil or petroleum products, but everything in the world will go up. And about Ukraine tried to remain neutral about these things. But now that the British Premier, the new British Premier, has clearly said he is with them, and others are saying they are with them, although Russia is on the other side. But still, that is why Zelensky has to show that he also sides with the anti-Russia group, and his opponents, because he needs arms, ammunitions, and all those things. That is the simple reason. Turkey is in a very interesting condition.
Right.
Turkey and USA has reached an agreement that they will give them the nuclear technology and everything. That is fine, very interesting and very surprising. But after a day, they say, yes, we can arrive at that conclusion of a treaty with you, provided you recognize Israel, which is a tough thing for any Arab Muslims especially. Even Bangladesh, we have never recognized Israel. And for this Turkey or other things, so there is a stalemate there. Now there is no talk about this.
Right.
But then this thing, nuclear, is not any secret anymore, it seems. And Iran itself is out of it, because the UN does not have any supervision. And they said that we are no longer bound by our own commitment that we will not go for nuclear war, because they have to survive in the world. And so they don't say that they are making it, but they say that we consider ourselves not bound by the treaty agreement of being non-nuclear. That means they are going for nuclear. Why not? They have to survive. But the other thing is the condition of USA, the most powerful country in the world till now seems to be getting beaten even by Iran itself. Although we understand some arms and munitions are coming from China especially and Russia, but Chinese soldiers are not shooting them. Russian soldiers are not doing it, and it's basically China. And Israel and US itself is really in a very bad condition. And yesterday, you might have marked it, that yesterday they proposed that let us sit down again and for it. But Iran says, no, we do not believe you, because you have broken your own words, written agreements so many times. What is the guarantee that when you have a better turn in your favor, you will again start it? So they said they don't believe. And really, if you see these talk shows and podcasts in the international TV, you will be surprised to see the way they portray Israel's premier or US president. So the situation is in a very bad condition. Some of the talk show hosts or people participating in it say that forever war. That
Right.
means you send one bomb, they send another. It keeps on going for years and years and years. If that goes on like that, then they can never defeat Iran. And they cannot defeat Iran in any case.
Of course.
So now the whole world opinion says that USA is really already defeated. It is only a matter of a few days when they are now asking that let's sign an agreement, but Iran refuses. So they will formally have to sign an agreement. They have
Right.
no other way.
Of course, excellent statements from Dr. Ali Ahmed, really opening up the discussion today on how we see Iran becoming the regional hegemon in that area, because they have been continuously fighting both Israel and the US, combined tactics and strikes against that nation, and of course observing their sovereignty over the waters of the Strait of Hormuz. That is
Yes.
exactly the issue I want to talk with Norman Floyd Barnes. I want to ask you, Benjamin Netanyahu is set to visit Donald Trump in the United States to travel to Washington. And we also understand that recognition of Israel as becoming a worldwide event. We see the Malaysian Prime Minister stating that he and his nation does not recognize Israel and shall deport any Israelis that they find in that nation.
Yes.
So that is just only one example regarding this issue. But
Think of Spain.
even as while Ali Ahmed is stating of Spain, Spain has taken a very different stance out of
Very
all
different.
European members when it comes to the recognition
And he also,
of Israel.
Spain also said that they will try to bring it up in the EU so that they can be expelled by, de-recognized by the entire EU countries because they take all the decisions together.
Right.
So the condition is not good.
Definitely in a bad condition when we talk about Israel, as more and more leaders from across the world realize that this is a genocidal nation. I want to ask Norman Floyd Barnes, how do you see this very issue, Netanyahu to visit Donald Trump in the US? What are some of the challenges that you feel, especially while the mayor of the Big Apple, the New York City, is also claiming that Benjamin Netanyahu should be arrested while he is there in the US? How do you see these recent developments pertaining with Israel? Norman.
Yes, the Israeli Prime Minister will be visiting the United States. And yes, he should, on the international scale, he should be arrested. He shouldn't be fighting in the West Bank. He shouldn't be doing this. He shouldn't be doing that. But he still has the backing of the United States administration. So as long as that continues, and I do not see from my observations and conversation with members of the House that the United States Congress is will continue to back Israel, and so as long as that goes, Israel is sticking to the mission. They are not going to change their journey, their purpose, and their actions. Even though countries, and we will see additional countries come in and what we call banish Israel from doing business with them, commerce, trade, and relationships. But that is little concern to the state of Israel. They have a purpose. They have a mission, and they right now has the support of the United States. As long as they have that, we do not see any type of changes in their tactics and what they are planning to do. They are planning and continue to take control of that region. They want to focus on the Hezbollah, Hamas, the different factions in that region to eliminate them to be in a situation where they feel safe. Israel expanding, doing what they do, but the United States is at a point right now where the people of the United States are very concerned about our relationships and our posture moving forward in dealing with foreign affairs, particularly in the Middle East, in that region. We don't, the people do not feel that our government is forthright, can be trusted with the information, and they have not fully divulged to the people their overall intention on what they want to do. We believe, the people believe, that Israel is a fundamental part of the future of the United States in their overseas actions, and they will continue to funnel pipeline, provide a stream of resources and support to the Israelis' mission. We will continue to have more war. I anticipate the rest of the year in the region. I do not see any signs, any increment of slowing down. It will be at a steadier pace, not a more prolific pace that we've seen before, but it'll be slow, steady, and consistent in terms of their approach, in terms of their focus. They are what we call laser focus on what they want to do, and they have not shown any signs that they're going to deter what they deter or be distracted from what's going on. Basically, no fear. They have no fear. They have no concerns, and the prime minister here is coming here to basically to solidify that relationship, to get more encouragement, to get support from the White House, support from Congress, to continue to do more damage to the Palestinian situation and their plans for expansion and control of that entire Middle East region.
Right. Thanking Norman Floyd Barnes. Excellent recap of the friendship between the United States as well as Israel. As we want to conclude this part and head for a break, Benjamin Netanyahu is visiting Washington, and he will be attending a memorial service for the U.S. Senator Lindsey Graham, who has been unfortunately, he has passed away, and he had mentioned that he was one of Israel's greatest friends and of the establishment, as mentioned. However, it's time to take a short commercial break. Afterwards, we'll be looking at some of the issues. Once again, it will all stem up from Middle East, but there are adverse effects, friendships that turn into rivalries as well. We should discuss that after a short commercial break. Do stay tuned for more on this very program. Hello and welcome to International Affairs. And my name is Shamsul Panto.
I don't see an easy resolution to this because every slight deviation from the plan,
opening an open war conflict with them,
testing nuclear missiles,
Russia's announcement of these supposedly successful testing,
special and exclusive footage that is being played on SATV screen,
Really coming to terms with Hamas.
Damage estimated between this entire issue.
President Trump is expected to hold bilateral talks.
preserving biodiversity and tackling climate change.
We cannot protect the planet before we negotiate peace.
Where is it going? Is it understanding the needs of its people before the needs of this global world?
For China to come to agreement,
They will face better projects.
Welcoming our viewers back on International Affairs. Of course, we are joined in the studio with Dr. Ali Ahmed, while we have Norman Flood Barnes throughout Zoom from Washington, D.C. As we were talking about Israel and its recognition of Israel, we see that over the span of the last several months, old friendship that has turned very sour. I am, of course, indicating at Turkey and Israel that has transitioned from a historic regional partnership to severe rivals characterized by complete freeze in bilateral trade and an escalating war of words. Tensions are primarily driven by the Turkish condemnation of Israeli operations in Gaza, Syria and Lebanon over growing disputes in the Mediterranean territorial rights. I want to turn to Dr. Ali Ahmed. Turkey is a very big Islamic nation. Historically, that nation was remembered to join the West with Asia. So,
and even this present party who are in power, they are an Islamic party, not just an ordinary party.
right.
So they are with the Turks. But then things are changing now. There is a rivalry now. Israel wants that they want to be the most powerful nation in the Middle East. So that is why they are trying to suppress the Iranians, and then they have already taken Egypt through America and all this. Turkey is the only rival, and Turkey's diplomacy of the present president is quite skillful. He could extract from them an agreement of getting nuclear technology. But then Donald Trump being what is, after a day's discussion with the Netanyahu, he said, yes, we can give you only on condition that you recognize Israel. But recognizing Israel for any Muslim country, especially in that area, would be suicidal. They would be boycotted by all the others. So it is in a moribund condition. Nothing has happened, and it will not happen so soon. At least so far, so long as Donald Trump is there as the president.
Right.
Till he goes out, things will not change.
And of course, that is the same conditions that were set when regards with the deal between the US and Saudi Arabia, that the nuclear pact, the energy deal, whatever it may be, it will be at the presence of recognizing Israel through the Abraham Accords.
And the so-called Abraham Accords.
Right.
Meaning they will have a breeze there, and they will be together with all those small Arab countries, and Iran would be left out. Iran could understand, and the Gaza, etc., they would be left out. So that is one of the reasons why there was attack on that 7th of October.
Right, and remembering 7th of October attacks, moving to Norman Floyd Barnes, I also want to ask you the relationship between these two countries, Turkey and of course Israel. That is because once we see the humanitarian flotilla coming through, humanitarian efforts being made for the Gazans, it is oftentimes Turkey that steps in with the humanitarian aid. On the other side, in recent terms, there has been a direct warning. The Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan has openly warned that Israeli military campaigns in Syria, Lebanon, pose a direct national threat to Turkey, vowing a strong response to perceived regional aggression. So this is once again poking the bear in that kind of region, and we've seen that kind of poke coming out, especially during the the first 3 months of the Iran war. I want to ask you, Norman, how do you see this? Turkey has a vast defense industry and is serving major economies of the world with the equipments required for a fulfilling military as well. So I want to ask you, Turkey is a power that should not be meddled with. It is also a precursor. As of today, I want to ask you this relationship. What role does Turkey play? Because we see it as a NATO member as well today. we are also discussing Ukraine and Iran. So there is a big role that Turkey plays. Would you agree with me when I say this as well, Norman?
Yes, Turkey is a very important and significant key to the peace in the region. Turkey represents the connection between the East and the West. Geopolitically, geographically, it is positioned to represent both sides. So the country itself, the government is driven by Islamic beliefs. They do not believe that Israel is working in their best interest for the region. Turkey is in conflict with Israel in terms of policies, procedures, and humanitarian efforts, how they deal and address the people who are of a different faith than they have. So this is not going to set well. Turkey is going to be a very important strategic part in resolving or escalating the tensions in the region. Turkey is a country I don't think Israel should assume that they're going to tolerate their activity. And I believe there's plan to basically address that, how they're going to address that. In the same time, Turkey has the ability, they have nuclear capability, but they also have other economic ability to cause a lot of problems for Israel. Without Turkey's blessing, I do not believe Israel would be able to even continue or be able to be successful in the region. Turkey has a big say in what happens in the Middle East and the East and the West, Asia and Europe. They have a big part in that. So I would anticipate that we'll see Turkey becoming more pronounced in their intentions, their feelings, how they deal with Russia, how they deal with China. Anything that happens in that region, Turkey will be the key. They will probably intensify their pressure on Israel and make more alliance with, Palestine, other countries, any other places in the region. They will probably be coming into Bangladesh if they haven't already started. Turkey is a world power. It is a up and coming emerging world power, and Israel need to recognize that. The world need to understand that nothing goes on, nothing will move forward in that region without Turkey involvement. So be prepared to see Turkey get more flexing their muscles more, because the situation coming to a point where the global economy, the economic situation of the world is being threatened, and Turkey is not going to tolerate this.
Of course, excellent statements by Norman Floyd Barnes, especially as we look into the relationship between Turkey and Israel, and as of course regional issues that we have regarding Turkey. However, at this point in the show, we must look at some severe issues that Europe is dealing with. The last time I took the name of Spain, it was regarding the World Cup. However, this time around, it is France and Spain tackling major wildfires as firefighters are tackling this issue. French President Emmanuel Macron is holding an emergency meeting, while the Spanish Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez will visit fire-hit areas in Valencia. More than 300,000 people have been evacuated across both countries, with many sleeping in sports halls or exhibition centers. Dr. Ali Ahmed, wildfires are very uncommon in our region, but it has become a worldwide sensation as we see much of the untouched foreign forest lands are now being burnt it has a real life impact on the environment.
Severe.
So I want to ask you how you see this. What are some of the ways you think that administrations could avoid such drastic elements?
It is very difficult to avoid. These countries that we are talking about have their forest land, and during this summer season, this winter season, or this non-rainy seasons, they don't have much rain. These forests becomes very like tinder box. They are dried and everything. So some careless throwing of a spark or somebody doing it willfully, it leads to big conflagration and huge areas burn out. It's not only the wooden one, lot of animals, the jungle living animals and human beings also die of death, this burning. And people, like we were discussing beyond the camera, that now it's about 30 lakh people are out of their homes and living in different places outside in open sky and all that. This is a very serious human tragedy, but they cannot help it. It comes naturally, not that they do it. They try very hard, as we see on television screen, that they have their helicopters, planes and all those things. But still it takes a lot of time to control. But meanwhile, many areas are burnt out. It is a human loss, it is a loss of wealth of the country, and it is a suffering of the people. So this is now seems that it has become an yearly situation, whether it is the US or Spain or France or Germany, some or other countries of the West.
Right.
This does not happen in our countries because we have a lot of rains.
Right. I also want to add on with Dr. Ali Ahmed towards Norman. How do you see these wildfires, El Nino's effects taking vast shape in July? Just a very short comment from you, as thousands are being evacuated from Bordeaux, which is a city in Europe. I want to just get a remark from you, how you see these wildfires.
These wildfires will be will have a very impact on Europe and countries around the world. One of the things that we failed to look at in terms of all of this stuff, all of these crises and wars and protests going on, is that most governments do not have a budget for this. They do not plan for this. So when these catastrophic events happen, tens of thousands of people have to be moved, displaced, and whatever, it costs governments money. They do not have the funds. They do not have the means to take care of the people. And people are frustrated. When you feel that your government can't take care of you, you want to do things to replace the government. So you're going to see a lot of uprising because nature is going to have its thing. They're going to do things. You're going to have fires, floods, water. We're seeing it happens all the time. And the intensity of it is going to increase. But the governments will falter because they have not planned for it and they didn't have budget for these. These things.
Hello and welcome to International Affairs, and my name is Shamsuddin Pantha.
I don't see an easy resolution to this because every slight deviation from the plan,
Opening an open war conflict with them.
Testing nuclear missiles.
Russia's announcement of these supposedly successful testing.
Special and exclusive footage that is being played on SATV screen.
Really coming to terms with Hamas.
Damage estimated between this entire issue.
President Trump is expected to hold bilateral talks.
Preserving biodiversity and tackling climate change.
We cannot protect the planet before we negotiate peace.
Where is it going? Is it understanding the needs of its people before the needs of this global world?
For China to come to agreement,
They will face better projects.
with President Xi of China and President Lee of South Korea.
Trump's White House that is in favor of these things.
simply not enough action being taken to address the problem of fossil fuels.
What their plan initially is towards the Caribbean a place that has been met with two types of disasters.
Bangladeshi students at the same level of opportunity internationally and domestically.
Well, as Dr. Ali Ahmed, regarding wildfires, regarding the preparation of various governments, how to handle these environmental issues that we see often happening in various parts of the world. In our region, it's always flooding, but in Europe, unfortunately, it is wildfires. With that being said, it's time to take a commercial break. Do stay tuned, as in the last segment, we will look at issues pertaining to our region. Hello and welcome to International Affairs, and my name is Shamsul Alam Pantha.
I don't see an easy resolution to this because every slight deviation from the plan,
opening an open war conflict with them,
testing nuclear missiles,
Russia's announcement of these supposedly successful testing,
Special and exclusive footage that is being played on SATV's screen.
Really coming to terms with Hamas.
Damage estimated between this entire issue.
President Trump is expected to hold bilateral talks.
preserving biodiversity and tackling climate change.
We cannot protect the planet before we negotiate peace.
Where is it going? Is it understanding the needs of its people before the needs of this global world?
For China to come to agreement,
They will face better projects.
With President Xi of China and President Lee of South Korea.
Trump's White House that is in favor of these things.
simply not enough action being taken to address the problem of fossil fuels.
What their plan initially is towards the Caribbean, a place that has been met with two types of disasters.
Bangladeshi students at the same level of opportunity internationally and domestically.
International Affairs. Watch every Sunday to Thursday at 2 p.m. only on SATV and SATV Digital. Hello and welcome to International Affairs, and my name is Shamsul Alam Pantha.
I don't see an easy resolution to this because every slight deviation from the plan,
opening an open war conflict with them,
Testing.
Welcoming our viewers back onto the last segment of International Affairs. And up until now, we have been around the world with many issues pertaining to war, geopolitics, as well as calamities of nature that we cannot control. However, I want to focus in the studio with Dr. Ali Ahmed just to ask you, the international situation seems to be worsening as of today. Brent crude is nearing $100 as Bangladesh.
Sometimes exceeding it.
It is exceeding to a certain level, and Bangladesh is on the helm of having to purchase liquid natural gas at a higher price in the spot market. Just to ask you, is Bangladesh ready for any kind of energy crisis that may appear, not because of Bangladesh, but because of external events that are taking place?
Yes, energy crisis is now a crisis of the world. And the richer you are, the more you suffer, because you need more of these petroleum products and energies. Bangladesh is a poor economy, but still they need energies. Even for domestic cooking, you need those things. And our economic condition of the ordinary people is not good. Just 1 taka enhancement is going to be a suffering for these poor people. So that is why it is going to affect all of us. Therefore, this war that is causing so much harm to them in the Middle East, to Egypt, to the US, to Israel, and to these Gulf Cooperation Council countries. But still, Bangladesh being so far away and not taking any side clearly, although our psychological is with of course Gaza and all that, but still, when the price goes up, and you have to eat, and you have to cook, and you have to do all these things, so you have to buy it at a higher price, but your earning is less because you are having more and more inflation. So the price of money is going down, and the price of goods in international and national markets is going up. So you are squeezed at both ends. It can be very dangerous. If it continues for a longer time, there may be serious famine in Bangladesh or countries like us.
Of course.
So it's time that we also want peace, happiness. Happiness comes with peace, of course, but then peace not of graveyard. What Israel is doing, what USA is doing, we support Iran because Iran is doing the right thing. And I have a feeling, reading the things and watching TV and all that, Donald Trump cannot stay for long. He has to accede to the demands of the Iranians because he cannot stay. And his election is so close. It was October, but now it's November. Already he is falling there. So therefore he would like to be re-elected. Or it's not a re-election for him, it is the house, lower house election or upper house. So he will have lesser representatives and his administrative power will be curtailed. So it is also very dangerous for him. So he would like it to stop. But he cannot stop now because he has betrayed Iran a few times. Now Iran doesn't believe him and Iran knows that we will die but we will not accept any defeat. And that is the reason why US is rather afraid. Is not that it has already become weaker than Iran. No, it is not. But mentally Iran is stronger. They are ready to die to the last man in order to see where it all goes. So that is why Donald Trump and his party has to accept defeat and go for some sort of that MOU of 7th July. So let us hope, let us see what happens. And Turkey is playing some diplomatic game. But Turkey cannot go beyond these Middle Eastern countries and will not go.
Of course. Excellent statements made by Dr. Ali Ahmed. I thank you for your contribution, time and patience in seeing through, assessing, analyzing the worldwide issues. Thanking Norman Floyd Barnes as well for providing the viewpoints, the understanding of Washington all the way from United States of America. I just want to finish today's program by stating some of the weather patterns we see in Bangladesh. According to the Met Office here, the Weather Office, maritime ports of Chattogram, Cox's Bazar and Mongla and Paira have been advised to keep hoisted local cautionary signal number 3 as a deep depression has formed over the bay. With that being stated, I am signing off on International Affairs.